Mac Loan Advisor Suite within Encompass. For best viewing experience, you can expand your slide area by clicking on the Maximize icon on the top right of the slide area. If you are listening through the phone today, please mute your computer speakers to avoid any echo. And if you're listening through your computer speakers, please make sure to check your speaker volume. We have allocated time for Q&A towards the end of the webinar. However, please submit your questions during the webinar, and you can do so by typing your questions in the Q&A pod and then click the Submit button. We'll try to answer all of the questions by the end of the session. Just a quick note that the presentation materials will be available to you after the webinar within 24 hours. I want to remind everyone that our presentation may contain forward-looking statements about the timing of certain system features. In addition, the content of this webinar is intended as a general information for attendees today, and the content is confidential to Ellie Mae. With that, I'd like to welcome our first speaker today, who will then introduce the rest of our panel. Piper Beveridge is Ellie Mae's Vice President of Government and Strategic Relations. Prior to Ellie Mae, Piper served as the Director of Strategic Initiatives at Fannie Mae, where her duties included leadership of several Uniform Mortgage Data Program initiatives. This included spearheading the Uniform Collateral Data Portal and Uniform Appraisal Data Sheet initiative, which standardized electronic appraisal data for all loans sold to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. Piper, I'm going to hand it off to you to let us know who else you'll be speaking with.
Thank you, Daniel. We have a great team of presenters assembled today. First, Randy Jones is a 25-year veteran of the mortgage industry and is currently responsible for managing customer relationships with national and regional lenders for Freddie Mac. He also leads a team responsible for introducing and assisting lenders in leveraging Freddie Mac's technology in their operations. Paul Avina has been in the mortgage industry for over 25 years with previous experience in the mortgage, insurance, and title industries. He's been with Freddie Mac since 2000 with a focus on sales technology initiatives. And finally, Roniel Banks is a product manager at Ellie Mae. Roniel has been with Ellie Mae since 2012 and has 16 years of experience in the mortgage industry. Roniel works collaboratively with strategic partners to integrate workflow and quality-related services into Encompass, and is currently focused on improving operational efficiencies for Encompass customers through the use of business process automation. Thank you to all of our speakers today and all of you who have taken the time out of your schedules to join us. Today we'll be talking about the Freddie Mac Loan Advisor Suite. First, Randy will share First, Randy will share what the components of the Loan Advisor Suite are and share the benefits of using the tools in your operations. Paul will then do a demo of the individual solutions and highlight the powerful new feedback provided. And then Randy will come back to cover other resources that are available from Freddie Mac and describe how to get signed up. After that, Roniel will show you how to access and use the Loan Advisor Suite components within Encompass. As Daniel mentioned, during the session, we'll be monitoring questions that are coming in, and at the end, we'll have some time to address questions that you have. And with that, I will hand it over to Randy.
Thank you, Piper, and thank you for everyone for making the time in your day to allow us to demonstrate some of the exciting advancement that Freddie Mac has made in its technology here over the past couple years. I'm going to give a little overview of kind of our journey and what we've been going through here at Freddie Mac. We introduced the Loan Advisor Suite last year. Our objective was to deliver an integrated suite of tools that allows lenders to be more efficient, cost-effective, and certain in the loans that they manufacture and sell to Freddie Mac. We began rolling out components of the suite in July of last year, and we continued to build out and make new capabilities available to the market as they are ready. So, as noted here, there's you see some iconography that shows the different tools in the suite, and I think you'll also notice here and throughout the presentation kind of the new look and feel that Freddie Mac has created, not just with its advertisements, but it flows throughout the look and feel of the tools and how you navigate through it, which we're quite excited about, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback on from our lenders. Just want to make just a few points, kind of ground everybody in kind of the principles that we were driving towards in developing these tools, and also as it relates to what everybody has typically thought of and known as the keystone of Freddie Mac and its technology tools, Loan Prospector, as it's gotten kind of reskinned and rebranded as part of this suite rollout. But we've worked with a group of lenders, development partners, over the past couple of years with the goal of delivering tools for lenders and built and delivered by lenders. And it's truly with that goal in mind of how we can better serve our customers in the mortgage market. Kind of the four key themes that kind of were the principles and kind of how we built these tools. First was certainty, ensuring that we're able to give lenders confidence with the loans that they originate and that they meet the requirements for sale to Freddie Mac. Secondly, the usability, providing intuitive, easy-to-use tools, kind of state-of-the-art, kind of current design thinking of technology that provides clear and actionable feedback. Third item is reliability. These tools are tools that lenders will use in their everyday production and manufacturing of loans. So we appreciate and know and are committed to ensuring that the tools are available when you need them and they perform as they need to. And the fourth item, and probably most important, is efficiency. Kind of with the high cost of originating mortgages these days, we were committed to finding ways to lower the cost of originating through automated data assessments, through actionable feedback, and views of risk that can allow lenders to focus their time and attention on the things that matter and not treat every loan the same, and providing the basis for creating a workflow that fits your own unique operation. So this is a view of kind of the various tools in the suite that kind of laid across the loan origination process, from application, processing, underwriting, pre-closing, closing, loan delivery, and servicing. And what I'll do, I'll just make a couple of comments on each tool kind of as a precursor for Paul, who will walk you through the first four and give you, kind of an end-to-end look and feel of how the features, functions of the tools themselves. So Loan Product Advisor, as I mentioned before, this is really Freddie Mac's foundation of how we view risk and how we've automated some of the capabilities in the past and what we've used to build off of. As I mentioned before, reskinned, rebranded, and retooled Loan Prospector is the way to think about it, with improved feedback, the layout of the results that allow quick and easy kind of navigation to understand the underwriting instructions, again, to enable faster processing. Also, we spent a lot of time working closely with Ellie to find ways to enhance how it's integrated within the Encompass system to allow for workflow and easy use throughout your use of Encompass. So it's the backbone of everything in the suite. A couple of capabilities I'll just note that are coming soon. We'll be making available spring, second quarter timeframe. We will be adding, as part of Loan Product Advisor, what we refer to as alternative appraisal, which is an indication that would potentially indicate that you would not need to get an appraisal on a particular mortgage. So that's something that we'll be adding. It'll be kind of a core part of Loan Product Advisor. And also automated verifications of assets and income. So that all will be kind of features that will be added to Loan Product Advisor. So moving down to Loan Collateral Advisor. Yeah, you can just stay on that slide. Loan Collateral Advisor. It's our appraisal analysis tool that provides real-time risk assessment feedback to help quickly identify, risk in appraisals from high to low, and we have risk scores that indicate that Paul will demonstrate. We also put a tremendous amount of work into developing clear and actionable messages that identify potential material issues in the appraisal, where to help you focus on the items that matter, again, that as opposed to those that do not matter. And so will be one thing to note here, these feedback messages that Paul will note, we will also be deploying those through the Uniform Collateral Data Portal in the early part of February. And so that feedback would be available as you submit appraisals through that mechanism as well. One item to note in terms of some added features that we're going to be incorporating into our Loan Collateral Advisor is adding a rep and warrant relief component on certain loans that we deem low risk, that we would relieve the lender of those representation warrants on value, condition, and marketability. And again, we're shooting for the second quarter time frame, early second quarter, to do that. So just to give you an insight of kind of what's coming there also. Loan Quality Advisor. That's our tool that will help quickly and easily validate loans as it relates to eligibility requirements of Freddie Mac, looking at the various requirements of the guide that we have data in from the file that you would send us that would be able to validate if that loan is saleable to Freddie Mac. It can be used at any point in the origination process, can give a early view of loan delivery issues, and also by doing so provide some reduced time to fund. Once you get the loan delivery, you know that you have some of those issues taken care of and it's not clogging up your system at the back end. So a tremendous amount of rules that are applied in that relate to kind of our guide and saleability criteria. So the last one I'll note is Closing Advisor. That will be our delivery mechanism for the UCD file that will be you'll be sending to Freddie Mac beginning in September. In addition to being the delivery mechanism, it will help validate closing data, sure that it aligns with the UCD requirements, provides feedback again to help you resolve any of those closing data defects, provides eligibility feedback as it relates to closing data. And again, the intention there is not just to be a facility for you to deliver, but to provide feedback back to you that can help in ensuring confidence and certainty with respect to that closing data, and certainly in your interactions for those who sell through aggregators, that you'll provide a clean file that they can count on as well. So that's going to hopefully kind of eliminate some of that back and forth that might occur today or in that space. So I won't speak to a system, selling system, the Coverage Advisor, only to note that selling system is how lenders who sell loans directly to Freddie Mac, that's their delivery mechanism for that. Coverage Advisor, it gives kind of a component level view of the various components of rep and warrants and how that relates to loans. Again, that would only apply for entities that were selling loans directly to Freddie Mac. And also there's a business intelligence layer to the entire suite that provides a mechanism and a view into looking at managed reports, trends in terms of tool results, and the characteristics of feedback that are provided back through the system. That it's really more of a manager, supervisor over a process kind of tool as opposed to the origination tool itself. But we tried to design this with a lot of parties in mind to give the maximum value to our customers. So that's hopefully that lays a little bit of the groundwork to what each of the pieces of the suite entail. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Paul Habina, who works on my team to kind of bring these tools to life a little bit for you and give you a little bit more of a view of the look and feel. So, Paul?
Thank you, Randy. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by showing you the new Loan Product Advisor Feedback Certificate. And as Randy mentioned, Loan Product Advisor is our rebranded loan prospector. It's also what we refer to as the foundation of the Loan Advisor Suite. So what I'm going to show you is exactly what you should see in the feedback in your system. To start with, I'd like to point out the new look and feel. There's a lot of white space, easy to understand, easy to read. And before we show you the feedback certificate, I want to point out that we've created what I refer to as a navigation bar here on the left-hand side. The purpose of this navigation bar is simply that a user at any particular point may want to just view a specific part of the feedback certificate rather than scrolling through the entire feedback certificate. So, for example, a user may say, I just want to go to the credit report information, and it brings that credit report right up to the top of the feedback certificate. So easy to use, easy to navigate. So to start with, as you'll notice, the feedback certificate is clear and concise. We've bucketed information together so that you won't find, for example, the evaluation summary in 5 different places. All the information you need in regards to a certain topic should be located together. So to start with, you'll notice that the evaluation summary is right at the forefront. You want to know, is it eligible for delivery? You want to know if it's an accept. And as Randy mentioned, coming soon, we will be adding rep and warrant relief to our appraisal tool, Collateral Advisor. And through an integration, you will be able to see in the Loan Product Advisor Feedback Certificate if the loan is eligible for rep and warrant relief. We put all of your loan data neatly together in a bucket. So you'll notice, your borrower data, social security number. Of course, as we just mentioned about the appraiser identifier is important for that information to get into Loan Product Advisor. So we will allow for the appraisal identifier, or what you may refer to as the doc file ID from the UCDP, to be used in Loan Product Advisor. We'll also tell you your document type. Sorry about that. It's a streamlined accept, property address, and the mortgage type. We'll also give you the results. These are very important because you must have a complete transaction in order for it to be a valid Loan Product Advisor submission. We will also tell you what the stage is: application, processing, pre-close, close, whatever it might be. There are actually 5 stages in the Loan Product Advisor process. We will give you your credit report information all in one section. So you'll notice here, Mary Jane test case was the actual borrower, and we will tell you what the indicator score that we actually use. But of course, we'll give you the rest of the information on both borrowers if this was a joint application, as well as the credit reference number. One of the things that we really heard from the industry was we want Loan Product Advisor to be specific to the loan rather than just generally all over the place, as it used to be when it was Loan Prospector. So now you'll notice that we no longer give you information that is not relevant to the loan. And as you can see in the mortgage information, we're telling you about the mortgage, but what we're basically saying is no other information will be given to you if it's not relevant to the loan. For example, we will not say to you if the borrower is self-employed or if the borrower has alimony or child support or whatever. If it's not relevant to the loan, it's no longer in the feedback certificate. Beginning on July 18th, we started calculating asset information. In the past, as you may remember, if you were a Loan Prospector user, if you told us the borrower had $1,000, you had to verify $1,000, even if they only needed $500. Now, you'll tell us the total assets that are eligible, and we will calculate the actual amount needed to close. So as you'll see here, the borrower actually only needs $34,000 to close. Now, what you'll also notice in this white space here is a coming soon. As Randy mentioned, we will begin to offer automated verification of assets. So that will be coming soon in sometime in 2017 for you. You'll notice that the feedback certificate is very visual. I always say, can anybody tell me what the loan to value is on this particular loan? We'll tell you exactly what it is, and we'll give it to you in visualization. For example, if this was 105 LTV, it might have been a HARP loan. That circle will pass the top, and it will change colors at the top, and it might say 105%. But it's very clear. You don't have to look up the LTV. We're putting it out there for you. Same with borrower information. You'll notice here that we're basically not only telling you the proposed housing expense, but we're also giving you very visual graphics as to what those ratios are. And believe it or not, those little globes do actually fill up with water as the borrower gets higher in the debt ratios or occupancy ratios. They will change. Lastly, we will give you your transaction information. So this is very important. For example, lenders do like to know how many submissions they've had. A reason that this is important, although we're not telling you what specific number is right or wrong, if it's standard for you to run 4 or 5 submissions before you get to close, and you've got a user that's running 20 or 25, it might tell you that there's an opportunity for training that person, but we're not telling you whether it's right or wrong. So the feedback information has been broken down into different categories. As you can see, we have employment, asset, credit liabilities, property address, and so on. We are going to tell you right up front, there are 44 messages associated with this loan, and we're going to tell you where those messages are. There are 7 in income and employment, 6 in asset and reserves. So the user, again, may say, I really want to look at those assets and reserves. And simply by clicking on that button, it brings those assets and reserves right up to the top of the feedback certificate. And of course, if you wanted to look at the credit and liabilities, it does the same thing. The one thing we really want to point out to you is that these messages are very clear, concise, and actionable. We no longer say refer to the guide in the feedback messages. So the feedback certificate is all you need to do to know what you need to close this loan with Freddie Mac. You'll also notice that we are going to always provide what we refer to as codified findings. So you will see the coded message that goes along with the feedback message. And as you scroll through the certificate, if you didn't click on it, you'll notice that it changes. So let me just point out one of the feedback messages to show you the clarity. So for example, you'll notice message DP. We're very clear. Self-employed income for Jim test case must be supported by the most recent 2-year signed complete individual tax return. We can't be any clearer than that, and nowhere do we say refer to any other document to understand what we're saying. So feedback messaging is very clear and concise. I won't show you any other feedback messages because I think that, it's very clear. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to show you Loan Collateral Advisor. So as Randy mentioned, Loan Collateral Advisor is our tool that will tell you what we feel the risk associated with the appraisal is. Okay? So once you log into Collateral Advisor, you will see this feedback message. And what you're seeing is the very same consistent look and feel of all our messaging. So as you can see, we're looking at 234 First Street, Anytown. The appraised value was 125. You got your effective date, doc file ID. What you will notice is that we are going to give you 2 scores on a scoring methodology of 1 to 5, with 1 being lowest risk, 5 being highest risk. We are going to tell you what the value score is and what the appraisal quality risk score is. We'll also let you know that you've had a successful submission to the UCDP, and of course in here we will tell you when available if you have collateral rep and warrant relief. So you'll also notice that we are going to provide you with the LCA findings and the warning messages. Again, the messaging is very clear, concise, and actionable. Example, 2 appraisals within 47 months indicated quality of construction that varies. Again, we're not referring you to any other documents. It's all right there in our feedback messages. course, we're going to provide you with up to 10 comps that we have found, and we will count those down 1 to 10. If the appraiser used the comp, you'll notice that we are indicating it with an A above the number. So, for example, the comp number 1, 2, and 3 were used by the appraiser, right? This is a beautiful appraisal. But if, in fact, the appraiser used comp number 20, we would indicate that and you would see that, okay? In addition to that, we are going to provide you with 10 listings that we have found. Same information. All of that information, hang on 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. All of the information about each one of those comps and or listings is there, number of bedrooms, baths, year built, so on and so forth. We will also provide you with what we refer to as a clear rank. As you can see, these are all of the appraisals or comparables that we have located through our system. And of course, you can see where your supplied comps and listings are in relationship to the actual appraisal. You can also sort that if you want. So the user may say, I really want to know, for example, gross living area, and look at comps based by gross living area or bedrooms, year built, lot size, things like that. A couple of other features of the tool are the map that will show you where these comps and listings are located in relationship to the property, as you can see, and they're numbered to match up to that. In addition, where available, we will give you a Google Street View, and if available, a Google 360. So I always, I wish that on this demo that we could show you a toxic waste dump on the other side of the street that would show you that there is some derogatory information that might affect that appraisal. But where available, you'll get a 360. Okay? That is our Collateral Advisor tool. Now we're going to quickly go into show you Loan Quality Advisor, which has a system-to-system interface with Ellie Mae. So what we're doing is we're going to go in, we're going to evaluate a file, and basically, as you'll see, sorry about that, you'll get your general batch information, and you have several ways that you could sort this. You could sort it by green, yellows, red. Greens mean you pass go, yellow means there are errors in there, but they are within tolerance levels, and red means that you have a specific error that must be corrected. So we've sorted by reds, and as you can see, we're going to pull up this particular loan, and you'll notice that we had a Loan Product Advisor data compare red, collateral rep and warrant relief is yellow, and purchase eligibility is red. What that really means is that in your system, you have different data than what was run in the last Loan Product Advisor submission. So if we go and we look at it, you'll notice that in this particular case, the LTV in LQA said it was a 71.79 LTV, where your last submission to LP said 80. So what you want to be able to do is go in and figure out, is that obviously those are reds that need to be fixed because those are significant differences in the calculated values. So what you really want to do is the error in LP or is it in your loan origination system? If you have not resubmitted to LP since you made the change, you want to resubmit and get LPA to match up to your system, which would then create a green. In addition to that, we will give you your Loan Collateral Advisor messaging, which basically we're saying not eligible based on Freddie Mac's overall assessment of loan collateral risk, including appraisal. So the messaging is very clear and concise. And we will also, with every submission, give you what we refer to as purchase eligibility messages. So this matches up to our selling system. So what it really does is it tells you, if you were to submit this loan to the selling system at this particular point in time, here are the edits that would fire. It gives you an advanced view of edits that you'll have to fix prior to going to the selling system, or when you get to the selling system, they're going to fire. Okay. And that is that is matched up to our selling system, so it's not a small subset of messages. So it's the full thing. And lastly, we're going to show you what we're referring to as the Loan Closing Advisor. So as Randy mentioned, there is a mandate that states that on September 24th, 2017, if I have that date off by a day or two, I'm sorry, that you must deliver the closing disclosure information to us. And so what we have created is what we refer to as a collection device that will not only collect that UCD data, but we'll run it up against the rules, and we will come back and tell you, here is where we found errors or discrepancies. So we're going to look at it real quick. By the way, this will be a system-to-system interface that you will have access to right through the system. So we're going to open up a loan, and as you'll see, you've got a green in the general information, you've got a data quality error that must be fixed, and 4 general messages, okay? Before I go through that, you'll notice again, same look and feel. We also have a navigation bar that could take you right to the specific section that you want. So you'll notice we'll provide you with the closing information. This is the information as to like who the closing agent is, the appraised value, disbursement date, things like that, okay? Now, what I do like to show you is to start with what it really looks like. At the end of the day, there are 25 sections in the UCD, plus additional non-form UCD fields. These green circles are good. That means that those sections pass with flying colors. But what you've got here is a red that must be addressed. So we're going to open that up, and it's basically going to tell you, we've calculated and saw that you forgot to put an appraised value in. And if you notice, up at the top up here, we probably would have seen that. There's nothing in this section. There's also nothing in the license, the file number that basically is the closing agent's license or the disbursement date. And that will also be brought to the forefront right here, as you can see. Whoops, I'm sorry. Let me get back in there. Disbursement date is required. Closing agent file number is required. Now, one of the neat things about this tool is that it also allows you to toggle back and forth from business terminology, which, you know, is evaluation amount or an estimated amount is required, to where this field is located in the actual spec. So we will provide you with an XML, detailed XML location so that you can know where to go to fix this if you need to. And just a couple other quick ones, you'll see, you know, we will calculate loan terms. Let me get out of that and go to the business view real quick. A first change of principal and interest is required. And of course, you can toggle back and forth. We also will calculate things like projected payments. But remember, these are yellows, they're warning messages. They're not going to stop the loan from being delivered, but that red will. That must be fixed before you can deliver the loan to the selling system, okay? And as Randy mentioned, we've got a couple other tools I'm not going to show you today. That was what we refer to as Loan Coverage Advisor and the selling system. So Randy, I'm ready to turn it back over to you.
Awesome. So hopefully I gave everybody a taste, a teaser of kind of some of the look and feel, feature function of I guess the core set of tools as we think about it that would be most relevant to the audience here. And I'll just note that, you know, I think there's probably different entities out there that either do or do not sell directly into Freddie Mac. And so regardless of that, in terms of getting more information or getting kind of registered if you're not already using Loan Product Advisor, and I would just kind of add again, Loan Product Advisor is the cornerstone of taking advantage of the other tools as it relates to some of the pending and coming tools, as well as some of the tools that are already out there as it relates to, for example, the Loan Closing Advisor and the appraisal review. When we start providing rep and warrant kind of indications on that, you'll need Loan Product Advisor to validate that. So again, it all starts with the use of Loan Prospector. When we deliver and indicate that appraisal is not necessary, that's starting off from using Loan Product Advisor is kind of how that's going to be delivered back to you. So for those of you who are already using Loan Product Advisor, you're in great shape. For those who haven't kind of got up, signed up yet or started using it, now's the time. So to get in front of this when all these other capabilities come behind it. So the place to go get more information if you are looking for just kind of the ongoing communications that we put out in terms of news and coming activities, you can go out to FreddieMac.com and / Loan Advisor Suite, and it's prominent all over there. Click on there, and there's a place to sign up to be an insider, and that will put you on the distribution list for information kind of going forward. If you're interested in registering for kind of loan product advisor and getting access, if you're the place to go is also you can either do it to get started at the Loan Advisor Suite site in the link there, or if you have a Freddie Mac representative and sell directly into Freddie Mac, you should contact that individual and get started there. I'll just note that some of the other tools like Loan Quality Advisor, Loan Collateral Advisor, and Loan Closing Advisor, for those who do not sell directly into Freddie Mac, we will be opening up access to that here in the near future. So we will keep everybody advised through our communications on the timing of that. But I think the big news here is to, if you're not on Loan Product Advisor, start now and kind of get signed up, and you can do that today. So again, we'll have some Q&A at the back end, but at this point, Roniel, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of translate this into how it's going to be viewed and experienced through Ellie Mae and Encompass.
Great. Thank you so much, Randy. So as he mentioned, I'm going to show you how to access the Freddie Mac integrations within Encompass. But before I do that, I want to quickly talk about the Encompass Settings Password Manager. So this is a great tool to use if you're ordering services like the Freddie Mac services out through the Ellie Mae network. So at an organization level, the Encompass admin can come here to set up credentials. So that way you don't have to give credentials to all users who will be ordering the services. You can basically set it up here, and then when the users go to select a product to order, the credentials will default in for them, and that way it's kind of a more streamlined process, and each of your users who are ordering the service won't need to manage their own credentials. So with that, let's jump into Loan Product Advisor, or LPA. Once you're within the loan file, you want to go to the Services tab, select Request Underwriting, and for our purposes today, I'm going to show you what the Loan Product Advisor system-to-system integration looks like. And there's two ways actually to order LPA through Encompass: the system-to-system integration, which I'll show you, but we also have the ePass web version. And some of the advantages and why I like using the system-to-system integration, it's just to be sure that once the data transfers to Freddie Mac, it comes back and populates in Encompass. It's a bit more streamlined. So with the ePass web integration, you're submitting the data, it populates a web portal, but if for some reason any of your users within your organization change data within that web portal, they need to also make sure that they're changing the data back into Encompass so that you keep the systems in sync. So that's just one advantage of why I like using the system-to-system integration. You don't have to worry about that. But also, it's a little bit more streamlined and easier to get and import the findings into Encompass. So basically, once you submit the order and you get the response back, the eFolder is automatically populated, and I'll show you what that looks like. But, when you use the ePass web integration, you actually have to manually, click a button to import the findings. So a bit more streamlined. So if you're not using the system integration today, I encourage you to, give it a try and check that out. So once you double-click on the Loan Product Advisor, the order screen is going to open to you. So you can see up here in the left-hand corner, up at the top, you have the login information. All the credential information that you would have to get from Freddie Mac, you would enter that information in. Again, you can have this default in from the password management tool. And, the users also have the ability to save the login information here. So, once it's set up one time, they can just, click this, checkbox here, save it, so they don't have to remember the credentials every time they're going to go in and place an order. Once the order is submitted to LPA, you can see here on the View Results tab, we keep a running order history of the order date, the transaction ID, the LP loan ID, LP key ID, the process, the current status, and the evaluation status. So all of this is here for you, if you need insight into the different orders that were placed. And again, if you're using the system-to-system integration, the feedback certificate, populates the e-folder, and you have the ability to use the conditions management tool to parse out any findings that you would want to turn into conditions. So again, when you're viewing the feedback certificate in the e-folder, it's important to click on the button View in Original Format, because that will allow you to, get the interactive version of the report, and it'll allow you to click on different links and buttons, and really be able to easily navigate through the report. So you want to take advantage of all of that. So please be sure to click on View in Original Format to get that interactive report. So again, once the response is brought back into Encompass, out under the e-folder, under the Preliminary Conditions tab of the Conditions Management, you can see you're able to import any of the findings here. So you would just, add conditions from LP findings, click OK, and then the users would be able to kind of pick and choose which conditions or which findings are important to them that they would want to bring back and assign to that loan file. I also want to make you aware of a really cool feature, a data comparison feature that we've implemented earlier this year. So if you look out under Tools and AUS Tracking, again, you have the order history here, and certain data elements as far as, when the request was sent, we track kind of a snapshot of the data that was used in the request. And so what we've done here is we allow you to select 2 reports. So you can see here I've highlighted 2 reports, and once I do this data compare button at the bottom of the screen becomes enabled. And if you click on the Compare Reports button, you'll be presented with a dialog that will display any differences in the request files of those, the 2 orders that you placed. So this is a tool that, the underwriters can really take advantage of to, help them, track down differences in data if they're wondering, oh, okay, why is the recommendation different this time, or, why did the data change? Instead of having to, read through all of the findings and, look at the PDF in detail, we really try to, streamline some processes for them and call it out for them so that they can say, okay, this is the data that changed between each order, and they can take it from there. So if you're not familiar with that, again, that's in the AUS tracking tool. Please take advantage of that. Moving on to Loan Quality Advisor, or LQA. Once you're within your loan file, again, under the Services tab, Request Underwriting, you'll see we have Freddie Mac's Loan Quality Advisor. So you just want to double click on that, or click on the Submit button to bring up the order screen. Again, you can see on the left-hand side we have the login information, the credentials. Again, you would have to get from your representatives at Freddie Mac, but once you have that, you can enter them here, or you can have them default in from Password Manager. You have the ability to save the credentials here so that users don't have to rekey them in every time. On the right-hand side, we have basically some loan details so that you can see at a high level the loan characteristics before you place that order. Once the orders are placed, you can see down at the bottom half of the screen under Order Information, we have kind of the order history and tracking of each of the orders. We give you the transaction ID, the current status, and then you can see the data comparison risk, the collateral rep and warrant, and the purchase eligibility. And you can see it's nicely color-coded in red, yellow, green. So, when users see this, they can easily tell, the latest status and, kind of if you're green, obviously, then you know that your loans are good, but if it's yellow or red, then obviously your underwriters, your processors probably want to take additional steps to look into what they need to do to correct the loan data and resubmit. Again, the e-folder is where you would go to view the returned feedback certificate or the findings. Similar to LPA, you want to make sure that you view an original format so that you can take advantage of the interactive report and be able to click on the different buttons and tabs and navigate the report very easily. And similar to LPA, we have the data comparison feature, which is available, again, on the AUS tracking screen. You can see next to the underwriting tab, we've added a new tab for the loan quality advisor history. Again, you would just select which two reports that you would want to compare, and the compare reports button at the bottom of the screen would be enabled to you. Once you click on that, we give you kind of a history of the differences in the request files for each of the orders. Another key feature I wanted to make everyone aware about, which is available for all of the Freddie Mac services and products, is that we work very closely with them to be able to capture key data elements in the reporting database, and these data elements can be used in various ways in your organizations to help drive operational efficiencies. Some examples of how you would use these fields is to be able to add them to a pipeline, to be able to track and display the LPA findings, the last date that your report was ordered, track any AUS discrepancies. You can also, create tasks and reminders of when you want to run the different services, and also set up milestone completion rules. So, you can take advantage of, the reporting fields. The Encompass administrator has access to the reporting database. They can pick and choose which, fields would be beneficial to use in your workflow and basically bring those into Encompass. So if you're not using this, again, is a great way to help drive operational efficiencies within your organization. So be sure to check these out. And then lastly, I want to quickly highlight the loan closing advisor integration, or the LCLA integration. This is available today out under the Services Request Underwriting tab. You will see here, the Freddie Mac's Loan Closing Advisor. And again, if you double click on it or click the Submit button, you'll see basically the order screen where you can enter your credentials. There's different ordering options, whether you want to, send over the UCD file, with the final embedded CD, or if you want to send it without the CD. We're still working very closely with Freddie Mac on kind of validating the UCD export. So even though this integration, you'll see it out in the services area of Encompass, it's not ready for you to begin using right now. But, we'll work closely with Freddie Mac and their team to announce when it's available to you. But it's coming soon. So if you see it out there, just know that it's, a work in progress. But we'll announce when it's, available to you to use. And with that, that basically concludes the Encompass demo portion. And so now I'm going to turn it back over for question and answer time.
Great. Thank you, Ronielle, and thank you to the Freddie Mac team for those great presentations. I've gotten a number of questions through the chat window. We've tried to answer some as we've gone along, but I'm going to raise a few, mostly to the Freddie Mac team, that have come through from a number of people. First of all, I think you guys did a great job of explaining the benefits of using the system-to-system integration for Loan Product Advisor versus the old EPAS integration. We've had a number of questions about how to get new credentials. So can the Freddie Mac team just remind our lenders how to get those credentials?
If I understand it correct, so if somebody is asking to get new credentials, they are not using LPA or any of the other tools?
No, they're already using Loan Product Advisor for EPAS. How do they update their integration to the system-to-system integration to get all these great benefits?
Okay. Well, we do have a capability that it's a pretty simple form that allows us to order your system to system, but we do that literally through our call center or through one of our representatives. So if somebody wanted to reach out to our call center at 1-800-FREDDIE, all they have to do is say, I'd like to order system-to-system credentials for my, EPAS or Ellie Mae.
Great, thank you very much. And that was and there was a great follow-up question to that. Several people asked if they didn't know who their account representative was, how they would find that out. And if they don't have one, I guess they can call that number. So can you say how they would find out?
When in doubt, Piper, call 1-800-FREDDIE, and they'll be able to direct you accordingly. Either confirm who your contact is, or they can handle you directly.
Great, thank you so much. There was another question from a lender who was interested in using these multiple tools, and they wondered, do you need to sign up for these tools separately, or does the same credential work for all of these tools?
Yeah, so there is a process that when you're interested in multiple tools, or when you're actually looking for access to anything outside of Loan Product Advisor, that you could do that in a one-pass process. There's an administrator that needs to be set up, and then through that, you can individual users who wanted access to multiple tools could obtain them at the same time. So that we are accommodating that process.
Great, thank you so much. And then I'll just remind all our lenders, users, that once you have those credentials from Freddie Mac, you will go into the password section of Encompass and enter those credentials in, and you can sort of set it and forget it, enter them once, and you won't need to enter them again if you're using, again, that system-to-system integration. So there were also some questions. I think in the past, some tools have been available only to Freddie Mac sellers. I know that's been expanded. So there was a question of which tools are available to only Freddie Mac sellers versus other lenders, and which tools are available to TPOs from Freddie Mac.
So, yeah. So in terms of, let me just speak to, sellers, in terms of today, what's available is Loan Product Advisor, Loan Quality Advisor, Loan Collateral Advisor, and Loan Closing Advisor is available. However, we still have vendors who are still creating the capability to create the UCD file. So that's just beginning to kind of take fold in terms of its usability, and obviously the mandate is not until September to start delivering that. So as it relates to entities that do not sell directly to Freddie Mac, Loan Product Advisor is available today, and what we're working through right now is just the provisioning process for giving access to those who don't sell directly to us, and that would be for Loan Quality Advisor, Loan Collateral Advisor, and again, Loan Closing Advisor will be there once all that's ready. So I think what I would advise everybody now is that you're probably here towards the end of the quarter or shortly thereafter, depends on the tool, we'll be making that process available to start signing up for those other tools. So I would get signed up now for the Be an Insider on FreddieMac.com to make sure that you're getting all the communications as it goes out, so that when that is announced and when it will be available, then you can start kind of requesting access for the various additional tools. But I think most importantly, for those who are not a Loan Product Advisor user today, like I mentioned before, that's kind of the foundation of it. But we're excited to make these other tools available to the broader market community as well.
Great, thank you. And I think we have time for one more question. There's been a number of questions about how to access Loan Collateral Advisor, and I think the counterpart to that would be, you mentioned some Loan Collateral Advisor findings would be available through UCDP, and if you could talk about sort of both of those, how to access it, and then when those findings would be available.
Perfect. Yep. So so February the 9th is the date that we were activating the loan collateral advisor feedback messages to be available and submitted through the UCDP portal along with our other proprietary messages. So that's the date for that. As it relates to kind of the two other pieces, and that would be the risk scores and the collateral rep and warrant relief, those components would be made available through UCDP once we broadly kind of roll out the rep and warrant relief component of that service, which we're still working through our regulator to kind of go through the approval process. So that should be, again, we're working hard to have that done here within, again, still looking at that spring time frame. You never want to, I'd hate to project something of what it's going to take for us to complete the process with the regulator, our FHFA, but we are actively working towards making that happen as soon as possible. So again, that indication would be made available through UCDP along with all the messages once that happens. So that would be that last piece. So for all intents and purposes, when you're submitting to UCDP, you would have all that feedback available to you.
Great, thank you so much. I think that's very helpful. And then for those that ask the question, you can get to Loan Collateral Advisor directly via Freddie Mac's website. If you're getting your appraisal feedback through UCDP, then that's available in Encompass as well. So when that becomes available, so that will complete the circle for that. And with that, I think that's all the time for questions we have today. Thank you so much to the Freddie Mac presenters and to Roniel for showing how to get to these services in Encompass. And I'll hand it back over to Daniel to close us out.